you can have a recording of this session. And let's go ahead and get moving. I'm going to be sharing my browser in just a minute. And if anyone would like to speak up and let me know when you're seeing the Galileo login page, that would be wonderful of you. There it is. You should be seeing it now. So hopefully everyone's seeing the new login page. And just a few things to point out here. I'll kind of take you step by step, top to bottom, through everything that we've done. That's too much. I wanted to enlarge it so everybody can see really clearly, but don't want to get too big. So starting top to bottom, one of the things that we've done since we've added some new features and some new ideas and some new looks to the page, we wanted to be sure that everybody was able to find what they need. So the very first button that you see is labeled What's New. And as the page gets a little bit older, we'll probably change that to Getting Started or something along those lines to make it clear. Although we will be adding new features continuously now in Galileo, which is going to be awesome. So I'll click on the What's New button so you can just see what we've done there. This just activates a little script that you can turn off at any time. And this takes you to what we call now the Galileo Wayfinder. And the Galileo Wayfinder is where you can go in and find your institution and log in that way. I can click skip or I can go to next. If I skip, I will just turn off the little demo. But if I click next, it'll tell me what to do. As you can see, you can log in by finding your institution, or you can log in by just simply entering a password, which is what students have done for years and years and years. So I'm going to go ahead and just that's the main thing that you're going to see is just two little pop-ups with that What's New button that tell you where to go and what to do. The next thing I'll share with you, and I'll spend more time on this later, is the Galileo support pages. We've updated our support pages tremendously. One of the things that we've added, we wanted to give people an opportunity to find out if something was wrong right away with our system status updates. So you can see now that our system status updates appear when you go to our support page. That way you know quickly if something is wrong. If you are coming in and say, well, something is wrong, I want to submit a support ticket. We want you to see any known issues really quickly. So that's what we've added there at the top of the page. Let's go ahead and talk about logging in for a couple of minutes. And I want to start by talking about the Galileo Wayfinder. And the Wayfinder is a way for us to support logging in across multiple institutions in multiple ways. And let me explain further. So right now, if I choose K12, I have the option of choosing all institutions, K12, public libraries. If I go ahead and choose K12, I can limit just to K12 institutions. If I search all, it's going to search everybody. I'm going to go ahead and limit to K12 just for fun, and I'll search for Austin Elementary School. Austin Road Elementary School is actually the one I want, in Henry County. So I can go ahead and choose that. And this lets me tell you about two things. If you want to capture a link that will skip that Wayfinder page and take you directly to where your students log in, you can just capture the link at the top of this page and put it on your website, because this is designed to give you a direct link to Austin Road Elementary School in Henry County's login page. Now, we are still authenticating by a singular password at the system level for our public schools. And we will continue to do that for some time to come. But once I'm here, I can enter the Galileo password for Henry County Schools, if I can remember it. I simply click go, and I'm there. And one of the advantages of having every school, we have added every single school, public, private, charter schools even now, to that Galileo Wayfinder, so that we make it easier for students to find, not just, but they don't have to know their system name, they just have to know their school name so that they can find their way to log into Galileo. And the other thing this achieves from a technical perspective is it has let us put you right on the right view for your school. Because you can see, if you look right under where we looked at those buttons before, I am now in Henry County Schools. and I'm in the elementary school view because I logged in through an elementary schools page. So we tried to make Galileo a little bit smarter about knowing where you're coming from and what page you might like to see as a default. And I'll work through you all the different page views with you a little bit later on as we go forward, but just wanted to point that out. Let me go ahead and log out. And again, just show you that you do limit to just K12 schools if you choose that K12 limiter, but you can also use the all schools. Another advantage that the Wayfinder gives you, and I'll show you why this is so cool, is, okay, I've logged in as Austin Road Elementary School. If I was really smart, I would have remembered my login. I would have remembered the public library password for Henry County, but I didn't. So, hey, I'm a parent and I have a child who goes to Austin Road Elementary School, but I like to drive to Athens and go to Athens Clark County Library. So I'll go ahead and choose the Athens Regional Library System, and I'm going to log in with my password for the library. And so now I'm at Athens Regional Library System, and I have all the content that I would have from my public library. I'll log out one more time just to show you what we've done here is this Wayfinder saves the institutions you've logged in from. So if you go across different institutions, if you use your public library card, if you use your Henry County Public Schools card, if you're also taking a class or teaching a class somewhere else, you can have all those places. It will remember up to 5 different places that you've logged in from. And most of you would only have maybe 1 or 2. In a given day when I'm doing diagnostic work here at Galileo, mine fills up really fast, although I've cleared my cache. If you clear your cache and cookies, those recent selections will go away, or you can clear them. There is a clear button there for them. So that is just showing you the couple different ways that you can log in using the Wayfinder. And then just there's the same old basic everyday password login that we've always had. And again, as I mentioned, if you find your school once, oh, I did. No, I did. Why is it not finding Augusta Prep? Sorry, it's making me look bad in front of Kirsten. I have to look and make sure it's in there. Let me try all. There it is. It came up in K12. I don't know why it wasn't coming up before. But you can see if I know that password, I capture that page right here. I can copy that page off here, and that can be a direct link if you don't want students to have to go through that Wayfinder. I mean, obviously there's some advantages to that, but there's also this page that you can use to send them there directly. So that's using the Galileo Wayfinder, and also just, again, we've left that ability just to simply log in by password, so students can continue to do that too. We didn't want it to make it too complicated, but we wanted to present multiple options, and we wanted to present an option that offered some advantages. So I'm going to take a pause now that I've covered the login page. I see that a couple of comments have come in on the chat, so I'm going to go stop sharing for a moment and see what might be asked in the chat, and also give you all an opportunity to ask questions verbally. I think we just had a few people who either joined or left. Any questions so far about logging in? Okay, Kirsten, I see Kirsten, you commented that you're not seeing the page. And Kirsten, I'm going to check immediately and see why your page didn't come up when I tried to search it in K12. That's what I get for pandering to my audience. Any questions at this point? All right. Well, I will go ahead and open up my browser again. Thank you all. Again, questions in the chat, or you can interrupt me anytime. We're, I think, a small enough group today to support that. I'll give it a pause here. You should be seeing my screen any moment now. Now that we've talked about logging in, I want to talk about what happens once you're in Galileo. I'm going to start just by going into what we call the Educator View to show you all of the features that we've added. And then we'll pop back in and take a look at the different views. So I'm going to go ahead and go in through Austin Road Elementary School. And as mentioned, I'm here now in the elementary view because I logged in from an elementary school page. My next step, I'm going to pop over and I'm going to change my view. And I'm going to go to the Educator View. And just to explain a little bit about the Educator View, what we've done here is we hear a lot from teachers and from school media specialists. And also, when I've gone out and done training out in the K12 community, I often meet student teachers who are still working on their college work, or I meet teachers who are working on an advanced degree when they have an opportunity. So we know that teachers need to do research too. So what we did was we created an Educator View for Galileo, and what this contains is a search that basically searches everything. We've limited some of the other searches, and I'll talk more about that when we talk about views. But the Educator View searches each and everything. And what we've done is we have created, as I mentioned earlier, the Spotlight area. And I'll spend more time on all these, but I just want to show you that Spotlight and the Educator area by default, you all can change these, and I'll talk more about it in a bit, are all databases designed to help teachers and media specialists find material that supports them. So we have things like the Professional Development Collection from EBSCO, which is a fantastic database that provides just that, professional development materials for educators, articles, lesson plan ideas, those types of things. ERIC, great for finding lesson plans. Articles on educational practice. If you haven't used eBook Central before, it's a great resource for teachers. The EBSCO eBooks Academic Collection. So some of our major collections that you might be interested in browsing as an educator are what we put on that main page, on the educator page. So just wanted to point that out as I go through all the different features that we've added. So the search page is the same as it was before. We're still using what's called the EBSCO Discovery Search from our vendor EBSCO to provide a way to search across multiple Galileo databases. And we've also included that same advanced search button that we've had in the past. So all of this functionality is the same as it was previously. We have made some updates to the way we organize databases. We have a databases by subject and type area as we had previously. And you can go to the databases by subject area, click on View All Subjects, and get a list of all the different subjects. There is a next button so that you can toggle back and forth between subject lists. So if I was looking for book reviews or biology or computer science articles, I can get taken to a list of a refined list of resources that will help me find those resources by subject. One of the things that we've already identified we will totally own is these subjects need work. As we begin work on phase 2, we'll be starting work later this month on our phase 2 of Galileo development. We are going to certainly dedicate more time to revising the Galileo subject structure and metadata structure. It works pretty well, but there are some shortcomings, like sometimes when you click on something like architecture, it still provides some of those general databases, and you can sort by relevance, and that helps. However, it is not everything that it could be. So we're going to continue to work on making those database lists better. I'm going to go back and just kind of go again, covering the page generally. We also have the databases by type area, and I'll spend more time looking around these and explaining features and functionality in just a moment. But the databases by type area, we have actually consolidated a lot of the types that we had before. This one still needs work too, and we will continue to improve it. But this is if a student is looking for a specific type of resource. So if they're looking for encyclopedias, they have 16 different options here, including all the Britannica content. All of that information is listed here in that encyclopedia type. So we've done a pretty good job, I think, of doing resources by type. Just while we're here in the type area, notice that we have added the ability to quickly facet, to limit your search by facet. So we have encyclopedias, there are 16 different things that are specifically full text, things that contain multimedia, and I can limit down into, Britannica contains a lot of multimedia. we can limit within our search to other areas. And you see it will add to my facet. And if I don't like that facet, it didn't do what I wanted it to do, I can simply tick it off by clicking again on the red X there. So I can also change the number of items I see per page. I don't know how many, there's 16. So I changed it to 100, but you can make that whatever you like. And if I need to redo my search, if I don't get results that I like, I can redo my Galileo databases search right here. So going back to the main page, you see that that top left button, as it always has in the past, takes you back to the Galileo main page. And again, I took a look at databases by type. Let me go back into subjects just to show you again. If I click on a subject, I'll do biography, I think is what I clicked on. No, I did auto repair. Again, I get those facets. I can sort by relevance. Still giving me pretty much academic search complete is the best resource available, although some of our public libraries do actually have dedicated auto repair resources. Some of our technical colleges do, and they come up quickly and high in the results list. So they work this works pretty well when there is actual content to be surfaced. But we do, I know, need to do some work on surfacing specific content better, and we'll probably be taking some of these general databases out and just making it better across the board. So just wanted to show you the subjects and the databases by type. Sorry if I give a lot of commentary on what we're doing next, but I think you all like to know what we're working on. I think it's good to know what we're working on. One of the things I think is great that we've added, I hear different opinions on this and I welcome opinions, but we've added a Galileo database search. In the past, you could really only search Galileo databases by the name of the database. We had a database search, but it was pretty closed. It was just, you could search by the name of the database. Now, the Galileo database search will let you search by subject, type, or name. It basically will do a keyword search for databases. So if I go in here, and if I want to find a database that has information about art, I can go ahead and search for art. And actually does a really great job of surfacing things like Metropolitan Museum of Art, WikiArt, some really good art resources, theater and dance resources. And again, that sort by relevance does a nice job of getting those things to the top of the list. So that is the database search. It is very simple and easy to use. And once you do the database search, it's nice as well because it will let you, within that list of resources, continue to sort it by, oh, well, I want to make sure that what I'm getting is full text, or I want to make sure that what I'm getting contains images, maps, and flags. So then it pulls up Search Discover Images, the New Georgia Encyclopedia, things that specifically contain images, the EBSCO image search. So it does a nice job of sorting through those resources. We plan to continue to work and expand on this type of searching. Our ultimate goal is to have a search that will break things into specific areas. It'll provide, we'll search all the indexes. It'll provide, oh, well, here's the databases that fit your topic, or here are articles, here are ebooks that fit your topic, so that it really breaks out results better. That's down the road for us a bit, but we will be working on that in phase 2 of the Galileo redesign. So that is databases by subject and databases by type in the database search. I'm going to take another pause here just to come back in and make sure I haven't missed anything in the chat, and also, again, to give you all an opportunity to ask any questions or make any comments that you have so far. Anything? I've got my quiet late in the afternoon. You're the last thing between me and probably getting to have a quiet evening at home. All right. Thank you, Ashley. I hope that means I'm being good and clear. Awesome, Linda. Glad to hear you used it this very day. Sometimes I forget to use it. Sometimes I'm so busy working on it, I forget to, oh, there's awesome things in here. But thank you. I'm glad you were able to use it this very day. All right, back into the demo. Should be seeing the page in just one moment. So just a few more things to cover on the main page. I mentioned in the spotlight, and I want to spend a little bit more time talking about that now as promised. One of the things that we wanted libraries to have and schools to have the ability to do is to add some customized resources to your Galileo pages. This is something that people have been asking for a long time, and we've designed some of that, and we will continue to design more customization into Galileo over time. Customization is hard, but we want to continue to do it, and hopefully you all will continue to give us great suggestions on what we can do. So what you see here, I'm in the Educator View, and we are in the Spotlight area of the Galileo site. And as I mentioned earlier, we included default resources so that we could release Galileo with these slots filled in, but you can make these whatever you like. And you do that in our Galileo administrative side. We are routinely offering training now on updating the Spotlight. We also have recorded trainings on how to do this. And if you're interested in learning about making changes to your Spotlight areas, and you have the opportunity to do it across 4 different profiles, and I'll explain that in just a minute. My colleague Mike White is regularly doing that training, and what he generally does is he has a few people who have submitted Galileo support tickets asking for that. He will convene a session and train you all at once. But again, there is also recorded training, and Mike is more than happy to help you with that. If you have not had that training and you would like to make some changes to the In the Spotlight resources, submit a support ticket for us with that as well. Mike will probably go ahead and make those changes for you, and also tell you about the training opportunities that are available for you to update these areas yourself. So it's not hard. It's actually pretty easy to do. And we encourage libraries to make these slots their own. I will say that what you're seeing in front of you right now are all Galileo resources. But if, for example, you had important things that you wanted to include that are specific for your teachers on the educator page, for example, or if maybe there's an event that you want to promote to your teachers coming out of your media center, you could use those in the Spotlight areas for that as well. There's no limitations. You don't have to use Galileo resources. There are some limits on the amount of text you can include and the types of images that you can add. But other than that, the sky is rather the limit on that in terms of what you can add. So hopefully you all will be interested in taking advantage of updating those Spotlight areas. We've trained a lot of K12 folks in our initial round of training on that already. So hopefully we will work with more and more folks who learn to do that. One thing I will point out for the Spotlight areas, they are managed right now at the school system level. So it might take some coordination with others across the district to customize your profiles. But also, and I'll point to how this can be easy, is there are profiles for your Spotlight resources for elementary, middle, high school, and educators. So you can coordinate that across school media specialists who specialize in those things instead of having to coordinate it with everyone. Coordinate it however you like, but just know that that's an option, and we hope that that will be a wonderful option for you. Before I move into talking about the different Galileo views, just a couple more things to talk about down the page. I want to go ahead and point out these 2 areas. We have an About area. If you would like to add more information into your About area, if you have, for example, a catalog link for your library, we just have the Henry County Schools main page there. But if you wanted to add multiple links here, just let us know what you want to add, and I think we can add up to 6 links for you. We've also included the code for the Galileo embedded search box. If you didn't know, and you would like to, you can embed a Galileo search box on your library webpage, and you can do that just by simply grabbing this code and coding it into your library page. The code, when you're logged in to Galileo, is already there for your specific page. Also, what I'm accessing right now is the search box for the Educator View. If I'm in one of the other views, I can capture the elementary, middle, and high school search boxes, so I could locate different searches on different pages if I wanted to for different age groups. And I'll point that out again when we take a look at some of the different views. Our Galileo News is part of a Galileo news feed, and our Galileo system alerts are the same as well. There should be actually a system alert. I don't understand why there isn't. that we are closed Monday, but need to make sure that that shows up there. But in any case, any system alerts that we have are listed, but they're also on the support page. I want to go now to the footer just to show you some of the things that we've done to our About pages. And before I do that, I see that there might be a comment, so I'm going to go ahead and close up just for a second, and then we'll dig into the About pages and go deeper into the support pages. Oh, cool. No problem. Yep, I'll be sending out the recording for those of you who need it later today, or probably early tomorrow. All right. Well, then back to the Galileo pages here, just making sure that we cover everybody's questions. So I want to show you the About Galileo pages, because as I mentioned, we've done a lot of work there. Some of the other things that you'll see here, we have our different programs, like our Affordable Learning Georgia program, the Digital Library of Georgia, which is our resource for primary source documents, photographs, Georgia history, and our Galileo Interconnected Libraries, which is our guild group for our library catalog side of the house. I'm going to go ahead and click on the About Galileo pages just so that you can see them. This is a general About page that tells you all about who we are and what we do. There's the initiative, there's our mission, our history, our participating institutions, a listing of our staff, and we've updated our staff listings to include our photographs. So met many of you in the past, I'm sure, but there's my shining head and face. If you ever need to put a name with a face, you can do that now. Our new marketing person, Joy Woodson, made us do that. She twisted my arm. So those are the things that you find in the general About area. Also, our data and statistics pages, you can find those a couple of different ways. If you didn't know, we maintain robust statistics and statistical reporting on all of our libraries. You can access the Galileo usage data, our annual survey data, our monthly reports, our Affordable Learning Georgia data. All of that data is available here on the data and statistics area. I mentioned our programs. All of those are accessed here. Our governance groups. If you were to be a participant on our Regents Academic Committee on Libraries, or in your case, the Galileo Steering Committee, you want to see who the members of those groups are, or get information about those groups, that's where you'll find that. If you're ever curious about Galileo policies, and by policies I mean things like password policies and password notifications and release dates and change schedules, since we messed around with those some this year, all of that information is also available in the governance area under the policies pages. The Galileo community. We're starting to do some updates to the Galileo calendar, but the Galileo News is our regular newsletter, and we're continuously updating that. Credit to Joy Woodson on our team for doing a great job with that. And finally, I want to spend a little bit of time on the tools and training page, because I do the training and that's my baby. We have our marketing toolkit. If you didn't know it and you're ever looking for it, we do place marketing materials from some of our vendors and other marketing content for Galileo, and images and other things that you might want to use there on the Galileo marketing toolkit page. If you're ever out and about in the community and you see a Galileo presentation, we have our presentations and materials listed by target audience. Our statistics page again that I mentioned. And finally, the training page. This is a new page that I've designed using LibGuides. I've created a number of short videos. I mentioned using the Galileo Wayfinder and logging in earlier. Pretty much anything that we've covered in this session today, I've created a short video tutorial for it. You've been in today's live training, but also if you go down to Galileo training and click on the recorded training, I will be adding this training session here. And if you want to go ahead and get today's slide presentation, it's pretty much the same one I've used in the past. You can pick that up in a PDF format there. So we're trying to make more and more training and material available. Also, we have a lot of our tutorials from our great vendors like EBSCO, ProQuest, Britannica, and others here on the page. So you can get to help pages and tutorials for our vendors more quickly than you could in the past. And this is another of those areas that we need to continue to work. We plan to do more video training. If you're looking for those old video tutorials, we're going to be updating those soon. My video, I did these. They're okay. But Ken Hensley on my team did the Galileo tutorials that you see here, and they're awesome video tutorials that he spent a lot of time using professional editing software and professional audio equipment to create. Yeah, I didn't do that. Ken knows that stuff and does it really well, but we're planning right now to do more video tutorials going forward, and we'll continue to update and add new video training and tutorials here. So that is just the Galileo General training page. You'll find lots of good training information there. And the last thing I want to do, just in terms of the page basics, before I go in and talk more about the different views for K12, is just the Galileo support pages. As I mentioned, we have added that system status update so you can see it loud and clear at the top of the page. We have drastically updated our support FAQs. We spent months updating these, and credit to Mike White, Ken Hensley on my team, and Joy Woodson, who also did a lot of editorial work as we were working through these. We were able to do much better guides and tutorials for you across the board, I feel, in our new support area. So if you're looking for, I need more information about the Galileo password, I can go here quickly. And I find information about the password, how can I access Galileo from different places, how do I get a Galileo password. We want to make sure that everyone has the information they need to get a password and to get to tutorials and other information really quickly. So we've, again, updated that a great deal. Also, you can browse questions by category. We have our most frequently asked questions listed here. And then we have updated our support forms as well. So you can always send us a question if you have it. And we have two different forms now. They route to the same place. So if you're ever concerned that, hey, I don't know if I'm using the right form, don't worry about it. We do have a technical support form. And the difference in this form is we've really added our technical support options. We've added all of our databases by name so that you can find what you're looking at. We've asked some new questions like, are you seeing an error message? Because oftentimes we're sending that back as the first question we ask when we get a support ticket in. And we've increased the number of attachments you can add when we're diagnosing a problem from 1 to 3. So you can add 3 attachments, so you can include screen grabs and other things for us when you're submitting a support ticket. As far as the other support form, this is designed to help you if you need to contact us. If you would ever like me to do a training one-on-one for your teachers or other staff or more media specialists or staff development days, one of these days we'll travel and see each other again. I love doing that work, and the customer relations form presents an option for requesting training, marketing information, any feedback you'd like to give, licensing information. So some of that other stuff that doesn't necessarily fit neatly under the technical support category, you can ask us about that using this form. And again, they go to the same place. If you're ever, I don't know which form to use, I'm going to use this one, that's fine. It'll get to us either way. So that is the bulk of the page and everything that we've added here. What I want to do next is just kind of work through the different K12 views so you can get a feel for those and talk a little bit about the work that we've done there. First of all, credit to Joy Woodson and our provider for the images. I hope you all like the images. We got a lot of feedback so far that people do like the images and the very light animation that comes up on those. I think it's so fun. This is the elementary school view. And as you would expect, we have customized the elementary school search, and we did this in the past so that it is searching materials that are more appropriate for elementary age students. Is it perfect? No, but it's going to find content generally that's going to provide them with a better experience and find them the types of materials they need more quickly. So if I do a search for global warming here, timed out some way or the other. Oh, last month's password, or last quarter's password. I can go here and it's going to done my search for me. And what it pops up for me right away are ebooks from the K8 collection, or it gives me video content about global warming. So it's not it's news articles. It's not necessarily going to be those overwhelming scholarly articles that you see in other contexts. So we have customized that search to be able to do that a little more nicely, and we've actually refined that a little bit from what it was previously. We've added some new resources and taken some resources out there. Sorry about that. My Galileo views were kind of upsetting. So we talked about the Educator View, and that was the elementary view. Just a couple more things about the elementary view. The spotlight, when it comes to K5, pretty much covers every resource. But we do have a couple of more. One resource that you don't see here is the, and those of you in private K12 may see an even longer list, but we don't have the ProQuest's image search is not listed here. But if I click on the all databases list, it will list all of the databases that are assigned as elementary school appropriate databases. So I'm going to go back now. I can change from the elementary view and change my view to the middle school view. Again, we've customized the search to be, again, more oriented toward middle school content. It would still surface elementary content as well. And we also included the databases by subject and databases by name, but it's a shorter list, so there's less overwhelming amount of material for them to go through. We've included the database search. Hopefully by middle school they feel comfortable searching by keyword for a place to look. And again, we have specific spotlight resources in those middle school areas too. I know that I made sure that we included the New Georgia Encyclopedia, for example, because I know sixth graders work with it a lot and eighth graders work with it a lot in terms of the curriculum for Georgia studies in those years. So we tried to be sensitive to what was there, but again, you can update and change these. Again, just submit a support ticket to us and ask, I want to be trained on how to update the spotlight, and we'll get that training done for you. So that is the middle school view. Changing views one last time to the high school view. The high school view is basically the same as the Educator View. We took out a couple of databases that we determined were really kind of cluttering the results list here. There were, I know it doesn't sound like it, but there were a couple of education and psychology indexes that had so much content that it was really preventing students from being able to find the things they needed. Again, we'll continue to work and refine these searches as well. But it's got most of the same content that you would find in the Educator View or full Galileo. It is basically the same look and feel as full Galileo. We got feedback from high school students, including our executive director's daughter, Lucy Harrison's daughter, let us know that they wanted this image, not a different image for high school. They wanted to have the same images as the educators or the grown-ups would have. So we got some feedback on that, so that's why we basically made them the same image, but the search is a little bit different. But functionally, this page is more or less the same page that you find on the Educator View, minus a couple of indexes. So that is everything that I wanted to share with you about the Galileo redesign, and then some probably. Tried to comment on everything that we're thinking about. Oh, I will comment on one more thing. I forgot these things. If you want to ever see a list of all the databases, those things are still here. Someone asked today, what happened to the all journals list? And they are in a different place, and we may need to look on making them a little bit more visible. But if you ever need to see all the databases in one place, you click on the all databases, depending on what view you're in, and you get that. And then the all journals is the same as the all publications before. It takes you to a list of all the different publications. So those functionalities are still there, and they are still the same as they were previously. It hasn't changed other than the location on the page and the naming. Sorry, I'm glad I caught that. I didn't cover that. So I'm going to go ahead and again come back out of the search and give you all an opportunity to ask any last questions. We have plenty of time for questions. And again, I thank you all so much for your time. I know scheduling to be in a session with your busy days and all that you do, whether it be before school, after school, during school, I try to find sometimes late in the day to try my best to be accommodating to your needs. And I hope this worked for you, and I hope you were able to see what we've been up to and enjoy it, and learn some things along the way. But again, I welcome any questions you all have at this time. Typed, written, spoken. Let me know in the chat how you feel about it. Do you hate it? Oh, good, Kristen. That's great. I love it when my timing is good. So Kristen says she's teaching this on Monday. Linda says a great job. Well, thank you, Linda. This was a Herculean effort from the Galileo team, and we have our developers behind the scene that they work so hard. You know, we had some issues on the day 1 or 2 of launch, as you will with um, any new interface, and worked late into the night. We all did. But when you do something like that, it's kind of fun. You kind of have a camaraderie around the journey. Good. I'm glad you think so, Linda. Linda says the new design is more user friendly. Laura says it takes some time to get used to, but and I can see that, Laura. And I was thinking about it. I think a lot about Facebook. I know Facebook just launched a brand new interface and redesign, and there's sort of a Facebook effect. And anytime you make massive changes to a platform, people take a minute to kind of get the feel for it and maybe even dislike aspects of it at first, but then find their way through it and begin to like different aspects of it. I do the same thing. Oh, good, Laura. That's good feedback. Laura says, I do love the help. Taught using it yesterday and figured everything out with the help. That's great. Yeah, that's what we wanted to do. We will continue to add more of those types of features going forward. One of our goals is context specific help, and that's a challenge for us. But eventually we want to provide a pop-up that would provide a quick link to, a video that explains a certain aspect of something really fast in the context of the page. Madison says, I have no questions. I use all levels up, and I absolutely love the new setup. It feels more user-friendly, and I think that users will be less timid when using it. Great. Yeah, that's great. I appreciate the positive feedback, and I welcome negative feedback too. You don't have to be nice. I mean, we hear it, and we've integrated a lot of it. We know there's still work to do. We're humble but proud of the work that we've done. But we also, things don't get better unless we get that negative as well. Yes, Laura says, quick question for searching in disciplines. I'm happy to answer that, and we've got plenty of time to go back in. We've got about 10 more minutes, so please shoot your question.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you just fine.
Perfect. So I used to be able on the main page to go and search for disciplines, like look for history, and you'd have all those different areas in history once you clicked on history, or science. So it would really narrow the choices down based on the disciplines, what the students could search through, what the what the search engine would search through for them. How is that still easy to do using that? I can't remember what the resource it was called that you showed us. Does my question make sense? What I'm asking you?
It makes general sense, and as such, I will approach it about 2 to 3 different ways, and I'll go out and do a little demo in hopes that helps.
Okay.
Is that cool? And you can tell me whether or not I'm answering your question.
Yeah, because I know you look through the subjects. That way, you use a database by subject. But it used to be that I could look through like just, history, and it'll be an American history or, some kind of science, environmental science. And when I clicked on environmental science, it would set up all the environmental science databases or information that would have environmental science information. And then I
absolutely understand. And we have. I'm sorry, I talked over you. I thought you were done. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I am finished. I'm finished.
No, it's okay. I'm sorry. When you're teaching online, sometimes I hear a pause and I think you're done, and I apologize for talking over you. No, I understand what you're talking about, and we did strip down the subjects quite a bit, and here's why. And to my point earlier, we will do more work to improve the metadata going forward. You're absolutely right. It's not what it used to be. I will say, and this is not being defensive, this is just explaining, the way it was set up before was set up on an aging infrastructure, and it was held. What I joke is things like that were good, but they were sometimes held together with Band-Aids and bubble gum. Mm-hmm. And so we are moving to a different type of search infrastructure where we need to feed it metadata, and I'll explain what I mean in just a minute. It works better in some ways, and I'll admit there's some shortcomings. But let me go out and do a little bit of demo about what I mean, and explain, but then also explain some things in terms of what our plans are for making that better. It's one of those things. It's easier to show and tell than it is to try to explain.
And I have another question too. So
Sure,
while you're doing it, so when I yesterday when I did that, when I did a subject search with my kids, when I went into the limiters, it would have a limiter for each database that it was looking in, and it just got to be so cumbersome for my kids. So when you do what you're doing, maybe you'll give me a good shortcut.
Okay, well, I hope I may need more specifics on that one, but we can okay. Broach that as we need to. Great. Okay. So let me show you. Yes, the subjects aren't what they used to. You would click on agriculture and agribusiness, and you would get that breakdown of all the different sort of subdisciplines of agriculture. So one of the logistics problems with that was maintenance, and a lot of that was maintained locally. And then another thing, obviously infrastructure, but then also just, and we're still realizing the same thing, is that we get lists that are too cumbersome. So we have Academic Search Premier, and it comes up before Agricola here, and I'm just randomly using the first one I came to. Agricola is a great agriculture database. It links to some full text. If you had high schoolers who were looking for this, for that type of material in an agriculture class, it would be great. And the sort by relevance is there to help with that somewhat. But as I mentioned earlier, there are some shortcomings to this so far. So one of the things that we plan to do is, obviously we need to refine these subjects. They're not everything that they used to be. So we will do some metadata work on that to make them better. But then also we will probably do some things like Academic Search Complete is great in certain contexts, but it isn't necessarily the first place I want to go if I've gone in looking by subject. And while it might have agriculture articles, it's not going to be as relevant as something like Agricola. So we need to improve relevancy ranking, and we need to probably need to put things like Academic Search Complete in a general databases category and leave them there, and then make students aware, like we did in the past in some way, well, hey, these are general databases that might also help with the search, but here in the subject area, you're looking at something more specific. So that's some work, that's kind of how it works now, but some work we can do. The other thing we've done, and again, just going back to the database search, is our hope, and as I mentioned, we need to keep feeding this metadata. So we were in early days with using a different functionality. We are using a search functionality, and you don't need to know this, but it's just for fun. The name of it's called Blacklight, and it's sort of state-of-the-art search technology. And so we can now, as I mentioned before, search databases by keyword. But if the keyword isn't there, and I'll use an example that came up recently for me, which is, sorry, dental hygiene. You see, I've tried it. If I search dental hygiene, I get no results, which there probably aren't any databases specific to dental hygiene at Henry County schools. However, some of our technical colleges do have databases that are specific to dental hygiene that they purchase themselves. So in the back end of Galileo, not to stretch your answer too far, I apologize if I'm going too far. If you have local resources, you can actually tag them so that they will come up when you do a search for dental hygiene. Am I making sense? Are you following me? Or am I too far off in the weeds?
You're making sense, but I think the thing was, my question was maybe not the right question. So I'm just gonna give you an example. So I used to have kids go in and they would be searching for information on history. And so I would tell them to go, and I can't remember what the box was called. It was on the front page. And so they're doing research on history. And I want them to look through all of the databases that are available on Galileo in history at one time. I want them to be able to do an advanced search. I want them to be able to look through all of those databases, not just one, but all of the history databases. Does that make
follow now? So you're talking about the EBSCO Discover search is what you're talking about, which is this main search page here. So the functionality here, as I mentioned earlier, is the same as it was before. I follow now. So I come here to advanced search. And let me show you what. So there's some limitation. So this is a yes and no answer. Let me show you.
Because I
And again,
do
I
that.
still don't know if I'm answering your question, but is this where are we talking about doing the searching in here in this format?
No.
Okay, that's okay. We may need to take this offline, but I'll just
Yeah,
I'll
yeah,
show
let's
you
do
what
that because I don't want everybody else to, I mean, it might be just the way that I've been teaching my kids to search. Maybe it's just, maybe there's an easier way that somebody else can teach me.
no, no, and I
Don't take it
apologize.
offline. This is Kirsten. Don't take it offline because
You
I
want
would
to?
love
Okay,
to hear this.
okay, sure. We
Okay.
can do it. We can keep going. What I may do though is pause the recording, and what I'll do is I'll say thank you to those who attend. If you do wish to go ahead and move on, that's fine, and I will go ahead and stop the recording just so that our informality is not necessarily shared with everybody. Let me go ahead and stop that.